No one in the sleepy town of Silverhaven expected the night sky to glow like molten gold. But when it happened, the moment stitched itself into the hearts of everyone who saw it, especially into the heart of Leora Vale, who had never believed one evening could twist her destiny so suddenly. She stood outside the observatory just after sunset, her breath fogging in the cool air. She had come only to recalibrate the aging telescope, nothing more. Yet something in the air felt charged, as if the world itself were holding its breath. Leora brushed a stray curl behind her ear. Her life had always been orderly, predictable, steady, a quiet rhythm she rarely stepped outside of. But then she heard the crunch of hurried footsteps on the gravel path. A voice called her name, soft, unsteady, almost out of breath. It was Kalin Arden. He was the last person she expected to find racing toward her at this hour. Reserved, thoughtful, and always carrying the weight of the stars in his eyes, Kalin rarely showed panic. Yet tonight, he looked like a man trying to outrun a secret. "Leora," he said, stopping only a few feet away, "I need to tell you something. Before midnight, before everything changes." She blinked at him, confused by the trembling in his voice. They had worked side by side for years, studying cosmic anomalies and unexplained sky patterns, but he had never sounded like this. "What's going on?" she asked gently. Kalin opened his mouth, but the words tangled. Instead of answering, he glanced up at the sky, where thin streaks of shimmering light drifted across the horizon like celestial ribbons. "It's starting," he whispered. Leora followed his gaze. Those lights weren't part of any meteor shower she knew of. They pulsed, slow, rhythmic, almost like breathing. A hush fell around them, the kind that wraps itself around the shoulders like a cold shawl. "Kalin," she said, heart quickening, "you're scaring me." He stepped closer, hesitant, conflicted, yet there was a quiet determination in his eyes, giving him a fragile glow. "There's something I've kept from you," he said, "and I should have told you long ago. I just didn't know how." Her pulse hammered at her ribs. She had always sensed a distance around him, a thin emotional barrier he never let anyone cross. But tonight, that barrier looked dangerously close to cracking. "Whatever it is, just tell me." Kalin swallowed hard. "I will, but once I do, nothing will be the same." Before she could respond, a soft tremor rippled through the ground beneath them. The telescope shuddered, metal groaning in the stillness. Leora glanced toward the sky again, and her breath caught. One of the golden ribbons dipped lower, drifting like a falling feather, but feathers didn't hum with a low, resonant tone that vibrated in her bones. "What is that?" she whispered. Kalin didn't look away from her. "It's the reason I came tonight." Her stomach tightened. He wasn't afraid of the lights. He was afraid of what he needed to confess. The glow brightened over their heads, painting the observatory dome in shimmering gold. Shadows stretched long across the ground, swaying with the trembling light. Leora felt something warm bloom in her chest, a strange mixture of fear, wonder, and an emotion she wasn't ready to name. "Kalin," she said quietly, "whatever you're hiding, is it dangerous?" He exhaled shakily. "Not in the way you think, but it might change how you see me, how you see everything." The words sank into her like pebbles dropped into deep water. She stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Tell me before midnight," you said. Why midnight? Kalin lifted his gaze to the glowing sky. Because that's when my truth arrives. The world seemed to tilt. Her mind spun with questions, but her heart leaned toward him, toward the vulnerability she had never seen in him before. A sudden gust swept through the clearing, warm and electric. The golden ribbon above them split into two, spiraling downward in a delicate, mesmerizing pattern. Kalin looked at her with an expression she had never seen, a mixture of longing and fear, hope and regret. "I should have told you sooner," he whispered. "But tonight, I can't hide anymore." His voice shook. Her breath hitched, and the sky kept falling in gold. If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. The golden lights pulsed once, brighter than before, and Kalin took a trembling breath as if ready to finally reveal everything. The golden glow washed over the observatory like a tide that didn't belong to Earth. Leora felt its warmth on her cheeks, soft and trembling, as if the sky itself were breathing against her skin. And beside her, Kalin stood frozen, caught between confession and fear. He finally tore his gaze from the shimmering horizon. "I didn't just come to warn you," he said softly. "I came because I can't keep pretending I'm someone I'm not." Leora's heart thudded once, heavy and uneven. She had known him for years, known his quiet routines, his gentle mind, his thoughtful silence. But this version of him, raw, shaken, felt like someone she had never met. "What does that mean?" she asked. Kalin looked down at his hands, as if they were no longer entirely his. A faint golden sheen shimmered at the edges of his skin, barely visible but impossible to ignore. Her breath caught. "Kalin, your hands!" "I know," he whispered. "It started when I was very young. Small signs, faint shifts. Nothing anyone would believe unless they saw it themselves." He took a step back, the gravel crunching beneath his boots. "I never wanted you to see it this way." Leora's mind spun. She battled the rising swirl of wonder and unease, trying to piece together a truth she couldn't yet define. "Are you hurt?" she asked. "Is something happening to you because of those lights?" His smile was sad, almost tender. "They aren't hurting me. They're answering me." Before she could ask anything else, the golden ribbon overhead twisted sharply, spiraling like a beacon. A low hum drifted across the air, deep and melodic, resonating through the clearing. Leora pressed a hand to her chest. The sound wasn't loud, yet it vibrated through her bones, warm and achingly familiar, as if it had been part of her dreams long before she ever heard it. "What is that?" she whispered. Kalin's gaze softened. "It's a calling, one I can't ignore anymore." Her pulse stumbled. "A calling from what?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked at her with eyes full of something she couldn't quite name. Fear? Hope? Regret? Maybe all three woven together. "Leora," he said, stepping toward her with slow, deliberate steps. "There's something about me you never knew, because I didn't dare let you know." A gust swept across the clearing again, rustling the leaves and carrying the warm shimmer of gold with it. Kalin's silhouette flickered against the glow, almost like he wasn't entirely anchored to the earth beneath him. Leora steadied her breath. "You're scaring me again." "I'm trying not to," he murmured. "But I need you to understand before midnight arrives, before they arrive." They pulled coldness through her ribs. "Who is arriving?" she asked, pausing on the word who as the ground gave another soft tremor. Kalen's jaw tightened. My people. Her mind blanked. For a moment, she wondered if she had misheard him, if the strange glow or the trembling air had twisted his words. "Kalin, what are you saying?" she asked gently. He lifted his hand. The faint, golden sheen flickered across his skin once more, brighter than before, like sunlight moving under the surface. "I'm not fully human, Leora," he said. "Not in the way you are." Her heartbeat stumbled. The night felt too still, too bright, too unreal. She tried to speak, but the words tangled with shock. She had expected many things from Kalen's midnight confession. An old mistake, a secret mission, even something dangerous. But this? His voice softened. "I never wanted to lie. I just wanted to belong somewhere, especially here, especially with you." Warmth spread through her chest, confusing and fragile, because despite the shock, she didn't step away. Something in her refused to. "Why tell me now?" she whispered. Kalin glanced toward the sky. The golden ribbons were descending again, slower now, curling like gentle tendrils reaching for the earth. "Because tonight they return for me," he said. "And they'll expect me to go with them." Her breath hitched. "Go where?" He looked at her then, really looked, with an expression filled with ache and unspoken longing. "That's the part I haven't figured out," he said quietly. "Because leaving means losing everything I found here, including the one person I never meant to care for this deeply." The words struck her harder than the glow of the falling sky. Emotion tightened her throat, surprising and fierce. She opened her mouth to speak, but the hum above them deepened, echoing through the clearing like a promise and a warning. A golden pulse flashed through the sky, bright enough to cast their shadows long and trembling across the earth. Kalin turned toward the horizon, his expression tightening. "They're closer than I expected," he said. And the glow kept drifting nearer. The glow deepened until it felt like the night sky had slipped into the shape of a heartbeat. Every pulse shimmered across the clearing, brushing Leora's skin with warmth and a faint electric ache. Kalin stood a few steps away, illuminated by the golden light cascading from above. It wrapped around him like it recognized him, like it had been searching for him. Leora tried to steady her breathing, but nothing about this moment felt steady. Everything she thought she knew about Kalin, about the world, about herself, all of it trembled on the edge of something she didn't yet understand. "Kalin," she whispered, "how long have you known?" He hesitated, his gaze drifting toward the glowing sky before returning to her. "Since I was a child," he said quietly. "I used to see flashes of gold under my skin, hear melodies in my dreams that didn't belong here. But it wasn't until I was older that I realized what it meant." Leora swallowed. "And you never told anyone?" "Who would believe me?" he asked softly. "Who could I trust with something like this?" The question lingered between them, heavy and aching. She understood it more deeply than she wished she did. A sharp ripple cut through the sky, like a crack of velvet tearing. Two more shimmering ribbons dropped lower, swirling together before drifting apart again. Leora stepped closer to him. "Are they dangerous?" Kalin shook his head. "They aren't here to harm anyone. They're here because of me. They think it's time for me to come home." Home curled painfully inside her. It didn't belong to him, not the way this place did, not the way she hoped she did. "Do you want to go?" she asked, the question trembling out of her before she could soften it. His expression tightened. "I don't know anymore." The wind picked up, warm and strange. Leaves rustled at the tree line, glowing faintly as though touched by stardust. Leora clenched her hands. "You sound like someone being pulled in two directions." Kalin nodded. "I am." He lifted his hand again, and the faint golden shimmer beneath his skin brightened. For a moment, his outline flickered, only slightly, but enough that Leora's breath caught. "You're changing," she whispered. "It's the proximity," he said quietly. "The closer they get, the stronger the connection becomes." Emotion clogged her throat, thick and uncertain. She forced herself to breathe through it. "Why tell me tonight?" she managed. "You could have kept this hidden." He closed his eyes briefly. When he looked at her again, his gaze was steady and full of something deep and aching. "Because I didn't want you to find out by watching me disappear," he said. "And because there's something I need to say before I lose the chance." Leora's pulse stumbled. His voice held a trembling sincerity she had never heard from him before. The glow around them intensified. A soft hum vibrated through the air again, low and resonant, like a cosmic chord plucked from somewhere far beyond the edges of the night. Kalin took a slow step toward her. "Working with you, knowing you." He paused, searching for the right words. "It grounded me in ways I never expected. Made me feel human in the moments I feared I wasn't." Her breath hitched. The clearing felt impossibly still, suspended between heartbeats. "Kalin," she whispered. His voice softened. "I don't know what's waiting for me up there, but I know what I found down here, and I'm terrified that once they arrive, I won't be allowed to choose anymore." The admission cracked something open in her. All the quiet moments they had shared, late nights at the observatory, gentle conversations, the way he watched her speak as though committing every word to memory, they surged back to her with startling clarity. She had wondered, so many times, if there was something he wasn't saying. Now she knew. Leora reached toward him, hesitant but drawn. Her hand hovered inches from his. "Then say it now," she whispered. "Say what you came here to say." Kalin's breath trembled. He opened his mouth, but the sky cut him off with a blinding burst of gold. The hum swelled into a soft, melodic crescendo, echoing through the trees. A beam of light split the clouds, reaching toward the clearing like an extended hand. Kalin turned sharply, his face tightening in shock. "They're here," he whispered, and the beam of shimmering gold began drifting downward, straight toward them. The golden beam floated downward with a slow, deliberate grace, as if the sky were lowering a bridge between two worlds. Its light spilled across the clearing, brushing the trees, the observatory dome, and the gravel at their feet. Everything shimmered, soft, trembling, unreal. Leora shielded her eyes with one hand. The glow wasn't harsh, but it was overwhelming, like standing inside the heart of a sunrise. Beside her, Kalin went still, his shoulders tightening under an invisible weight. He didn't step toward the beam. He didn't step away from it either. He just watched it descend, his expression torn open with fear and something deeper, something that looked painfully like longing. "Kalin!" Leora whispered. What happens now? He swallowed hard. They're initiating a link. It means they're close enough to communicate. They're calling to me, asking me to respond. Her pulse raced. What kind of response? His gaze flickered toward her, soft and uncertain. If I answer, they'll know I'm here and ready. If I don't, they'll come searching. The air vibrated lightly around them as the beam hovered just above the ground. Its glow swirled in a delicate spiral, almost as if it were breathing. Leora found herself stepping closer to Kalin without thinking. The pull toward him was instinctive, a quiet need to anchor him, to remind him he wasn't standing alone. What do you want to do? She asked. Kalin exhaled slowly. That's the part I'm struggling with. They're my people, my origin, my history, but everything that feels like home is here. Warmed her chest even as they frightened her. He looked at her again, and something in his eyes changed, a clarity breaking through the confusion. I need you to understand, he said quietly, that I never expected any of this. I didn't expect you. I didn't expect to feel tied to someone in a way that made choosing so hard. Her breath caught. She hadn't expected those words either. Before she could respond, the golden spiral shifted. Its light stretched inward, forming a faint shape, a silhouette made of shimmering threads, tall and fluid, almost humanoid, but not quite. Leora stepped back, heart pounding. The figure didn't touch the ground. It hovered just above it, pulsing with gentle rhythm. Kalin stiffened. They're projecting a guide, he murmured. A representative. It means they want to speak to me directly. The silhouette tilted its head, or what resembled a head, toward Kalin. Its glow brightened, and a soft, melodic tone resonated through the clearing. Leora felt the vibration deep in her bones. She touched her chest instinctively, trying to steady her breath. Can you understand it? She whispered. Yes. His voice cracked slightly. They're asking why I delayed the signal, why I waited so long to answer. Leora's chest tightened. What are you going to say? Kalin hesitated. I could tell them the truth, that I'm not ready to leave, but that would raise questions. Questions about you, about this life, about why I stayed so long. The silhouette pulsed again, brighter, waiting. Leora's voice came out softer than she intended. Do they know about Earth? About the people here? They know enough, he said. But they don't understand the smaller things, the choices, the bonds. They see connection as data, not feeling. The warmth in her chest spread, fragile but steady. Kalin lifted his hand slightly, as if preparing to respond, but before he could, the figure extended a ribbon of light toward him. Leora gasped softly as the ribbon wrapped around his wrist with delicate precision. Kalin's outline flickered again, brighter now, as if the light inside him were responding. She's interacting with me, he said quietly. She wants acknowledgement. Are you in danger? Leora asked. No, he murmured. But if I accept the connection, I'm giving my location, and they'll come in person, soon. Leora's pulse hammered. And if you don't? His gaze dropped to the glowing ribbon pulsing against his wrist. Then they'll assume something is wrong. They might pull me back by force. Chilled her more than the night air ever could. The clearing hummed again, urging an answer. The figure's glow brightened, patient yet insistent. Kalin closed his eyes, torn in a way that made Leora's heart ache. "Kalin," she said softly, stepping closer. When he opened his eyes, she held his gaze. "You don't have to choose for them. Choose for yourself." The wind stilled, as if even the trees were listening. His breath trembled. "I'm trying, but every choice feels like losing something." Leora reached out and gently touched the back of his hand, the one not wrapped in light. His fingers curled around hers almost immediately, instinctively, as if her touch grounded him. The golden figure pulsed again, a soft, urgent call that echoed through the clearing. Kalin looked at Leora, eyes filled with a storm of fear, longing, and something he hadn't yet spoken aloud. "I know what I want to say," he murmured, "but I don't know what it will cost." The beam brightened, waiting for his answer. The golden beam brightened until the clearing looked like dawn had arrived hours early. The shimmering figure hovered patiently, its ribbon of light still wrapped around Kalin's wrist, pulsing like a heartbeat that didn't belong to Earth. The air vibrated with gentle insistence, urging him to respond, urging him to choose. Leora stood only a step away, her fingers still curled around Kalin's other hand. Even through her fear, she refused to let go. Not now, not when everything hung in the balance. Kalin took a slow, uneven breath. "They're asking again," he whispered. "They want to know why I'm hesitating." Leora squeezed his hand, grounding him. "What do you want to tell them?" His gaze slid to her, full of emotion so raw it made her chest ache. "That I found something worth staying for," he said softly. "That leaving now would mean abandoning the only part of myself that ever felt real." Her heart caught on those words. Warmth rushed through her, both breathtaking and frightening. But the golden figure pulsed brighter, stronger, impatient. Kalin winced as the light around his wrist tightened. "They don't understand," he murmured. "They think hesitation means distress. They think I need extraction." Leora's breath hitched. "Extraction? What does that mean?" "They'll come physically," he said. "And once they're here, they won't leave without me." The thought of losing him, suddenly, violently, without a chance to speak again, sent a cold tremor down her spine. She stepped closer, her voice trembling. "Kalin, you said you know what you want to say. Then say it. You don't have time to doubt it anymore." He looked at her as though memorizing the moment, the glow in her eyes, the softness in her expression, the fierce steadiness of her grip. The wind swirled around them, carrying sparks of golden dust that drifted like falling petals. Finally, Kalin lifted his chin and faced the shimmering figure. His voice came out steady. "And I'm choosing. And I'm choosing to stay." The figure's glow flickered. Confusion, disbelief, something almost resembling surprise. The ribbon around his wrist tightened sharply, then loosened, testing the boundary of his declaration. Kalin continued, stronger now. "My place is here, with the life I made, and with the person who makes it feel like mine." The words sent warmth rushing through Leora's chest, so powerful and unexpected that she had to steady her breathing. The figure pulsed again, the melody in the air turning sharper, questioning. "They want to know why," Kalin translated quietly. "They want a justification." Leora's heart beat so hard she could feel it in her fingertips. Kalin drew in a breath, never breaking eye contact with the golden silhouette. "Because I have found something your data cannot measure," he said. "I found connection, emotion, choice." His voice softened. "And I will not leave it behind." The clearing fell silent. The humming stopped. Even the wind stilled, as if the world were holding its breath. The shimmering figure dimmed, slowly, thoughtfully, like a celestial mind processing something far beyond its logic. Leora held onto Kalin's hand, afraid to speak or even exhale. Then, gradually, the ribbon around Kalin's wrist dissolved into drifting particles of light. The figure withdrew its blow, shrinking back into the center of the beam. Kalin's eyes widened. "They're evaluating my request?" Leora frowned. "Does that mean they'll let you stay?" "I'm not sure," his voice cracked. "They've never had someone refuse before." The beam flickered, pulsed, and then, to Leora's astonishment, a soft melody drifted through the clearing again. But this time, it wasn't sharp or insistent. It was gentle, understanding, almost accepting. Kalin's breath left him all at once. "They're acknowledging it," he whispered. "They're granting my choice." A warm wave of relief burst through Leora so suddenly she nearly stumbled. Kalin caught her hand, pulling her closer. The golden beam slowly began to retract, rising with a quiet elegance. The shimmering figure folded into the light, dissolving into 1,000 glittering threads. The hum faded into silence. Kalin watched it go, shoulders trembling with disbelief and relief. "They're leaving," he murmured. "They're letting me stay." Leora let out a shaky breath, tears stinging her eyes. "You did it! You actually did it!" He turned to her, the last of the golden glow fading from his skin. For the first time all night, he looked peaceful, completely, profoundly human. "I stayed because of you," he said softly, "because you made this world feel like home." Her chest tightened with emotion she could no longer hold back. She stepped closer, and Kalin gently rested his forehead against hers, breath warm in the cool night air. The beam vanished into the sky, leaving only the stars, quiet, distant, and no longer calling him away. Kalin whispered, "Thank you for giving me something worth choosing." And Leora whispered back, voice trembling with hope, "You won't face tomorrow alone." The night settled around them, warm, quiet, and full of the promise of a life they would face together. Their story, once shaped by falling light, now found its future in something far brighter.